At this point, I became also a Muslim Brotherhood, a real Muslim Brotherhood. This is the first step. Step before is like pre-Muslim Brotherhood. Now I am Muslim Brotherhood. As I used to say, now the curtain of the theater open. I start to see all the hidden stuff. One of the things that I always believed in it was democracy and freedom and all stuff. And of course, that Islam is the religion of freedom. Yani. We don't need to prove first. And all the time, Muslim Brotherhood are crying and shouting for democracy in Egypt, democracy in the Middle East. And then I was shocked that there is no democracy inside the organization itself.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Yasmine Mohammed podcast. Today we have a good friend of mine, actually. Him and his wife, Ines, are really good friends of mine. Ines was a past person on this podcast, a past guest on this podcast. And Moomen is here today to talk to us about the fact that he used to be part of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. In fact, he was a leader within the Muslim Brotherhood in Alexandria in Egypt. So he's going to talk to us all about the inner workings of the Ikhwan, how it works not only in Egypt, but in Europe and in North America and in your backyard. We're also going to talk about what's happening in Gaza, what's happening in Syria. He's got a lot of insight into a lot of different issues of things that are happening in the Middle East. He's a leading voice amongst freethinkers in Egypt. He is the author of several articles and books, including ABCs of Secularism and ABCs of Liberalism, which we'll be talking about today. And he's co-author of a book called Egypt and Israel, 40 Years in the Desert of Cold Peace. Welcome, Moomen.
Welcome, Yasmine. I'm glad to be with you for my first English interview ever.
I'm so honored, so honored. So for those of you who are interested too, I was on Moomen's podcast and it was in Arabic. So for those of you who speak Arabic, you can watch that podcast and laugh at me because I'm sure I sound like such an Anglophone. So thank you, Moomen. I spoke Arabic for you and you're speaking English for me.
Yeah, but also don't make fun of me because I'm Egyptian, and in Egypt we don't get our tongue out. This and that we don't like it. Even in Arabic, we don't say the or the. No. Everything for us is that, zin, zin. No the, no the, nothing.
That's right. Montez, that's perfect. That's why it's so easy to do an Egyptian accent. When I'm
Yeah.
when I'm being my mom, it's so fun. It's so easy to do. Just make everything as All right, Moomen. So we're going to start off with talking about your childhood. Actually, I always love to talk about somebody's childhood, how they grew up, because I'm interested in knowing what turns you into the person that you are. So before we started recording, we talked about how the fact that your name is with the intelligence in Egypt from the 80s, was it? 19.
Yes. Since 1987, exactly.
1987. Wow. First for being part of the Muslim Brotherhood, and then because of your positive relationship with Israel, and now because you're a secularist activist. So, there's a lot of different facets to you. And I'm always curious, like how do we become who we are? So I want to go back to the roots, want to go back to your childhood. And what do you think happened in your childhood to make you initially choose to join the Muslim Brotherhood?
Okay, first of all, I am from a middle class family, both sides. And I always like to emphasize that because, there is this myth of Nasserist, of those of Gamal Abdel Nasser, that Egypt before 1952, the coup of the free officer, there was no middle class. It's either 0.5% of society, the rich, the pasha, the big, those titles, and the 99.5% were poor. Actually, this is a big lie because my extended family, it's middle class, both sides, and my grandfather from my mom's side, he had 12 child, 8 girl and 4 men, and they get married from other family, also middle class. So this myth of there is no such thing as middle class before 1952 and Gamal Abdel Nasser, he is the one who created the middle class in Egypt. This is a big lie. The two grandfathers were friend actually with a member of what they call Ansar Sunnah. This is, you can say, this is the pro-Salafi. When Salafists were just following Ahmad ibn Hanbal school, and mostly they're working in charity and stuff like that. There was no politics at all. They don't care. They don't believe in it. They actually been against the Muslim Brotherhood because they play politics, all this stuff. Though my grandfather sent my father to a Catholic school, College San Mark in Alexandria. He was raised by monks. And of course, me and my brothers were there also. And my sons went there also. So there wasn't this problem of being a good Muslim, conservative Muslim, and being okay, and I have no problem with Catholic schools. It was no problem at all. So we are raised in, you can say, a conservative family. But even though my mom, my 7 aunt, none of them was vegan. None. Zero. My mom actually put hijab when she was exactly 50. And because my dad and her, he went to work in Saudi Arabia. She found that she goes there, put hijab, come back to Egypt, take it off, blah, blah, blah. She put it eventually. And all Egypt after that became veiled because of Muslim Brother, Salafis, and all this Islamic movement. We were raised actually to read. I like it to read all the time. That's why I joined Muslim Brotherhood, and that's why I left them. So reading was something in our family. Of course, different reading. Everyone reads something different. For me, I preferred as a teenager, because everything started in 1986, actually. So I was 17. I like any teenager. I read about the Egyptian history. I started, there was this books that come weekly or monthly. I don't remember. It was made Egyptian history for kids. I started with it from King Mina, the unifier of Egypt, till October War, 1973. I follow it all the time. Of course, I read about stars, about the invention of train, of cars, of blah, 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 all this stuff, the Vasco da Gama, Christopher Columbus, all this stuff. Until in 1986, in the summer, between grade 11, grade 12, this guy, he was a family friend. He was older than me, about 10 years, 11 years. He found that I like to read. He brought me the book which changed my life.
Propaganda.
Propaganda of who? And that's why this propaganda worked for me. And maybe that's why he chose this book. Because actually, later I knew that he's a Salafi. And Salafi actually don't like Roger Garoudi. So why he brought to me Roger Garoudi? And at this time, Roger Garoudi in Egypt in 1986 was a superstar, this French communist guy. And of course, he's communist, so he should be atheist. but in Egypt he became. They said that he's Christian, so he's Christian, communist, French, convert to Islam. Wow, Allahu Akbar
Mm,
walillah.
mm. Big trophy.
Of got me this book, and I unfortunately I don't remember the name of the book. But all I remember, I was 17 years, it's like almost 40 years now. It was full of conspiracy theory. That's why I hate conspiracy theory, and that's what lead us all to hell. I start reading about conspiracy against Islam made by Crusader. Of course, Christian are Crusader. All Christian are Crusader. None of them. Jews, of course, and Zionists, of
Yeah.
course. And here they call Masoni, Fire Mason. Of course, there is always this triple player or triple enemy of Islam who has this conspiracy against Islam: Zionist, Crusader, and Masoni, and sometimes, of course, communist. And we have this song, صليبيون. I hope you can translate this. صليبيون في لؤم الذئاب، شيوعيون جزر من يهود. So I'll try. Crusader, that they are like wolf, like there. And communists are coming from Jews, even communists. They're not enemy really, just because they're coming from Jewish roots. So we have those.
Yeah, constant victimhood is what it is. Everybody's out to get you. Everybody hates you. Everybody's against you.
Everyone want to kill us, want to make us poor, make us retarded, or whatever. So as a teenager, I started to get angry. How come our religion? I must defend my religion. I must fight for my religion. 17 years old, a teenager. I was completely idiot. Yani. Okay, I start to get back, leave all these books, scientific books, and about stars, invention, and all this stuff, and start to follow Islamic. At this time, I didn't know where to get Islamic books. But there was their magazine, which is sell at the newspaper places. Al-I'tisam, Al-Mukhtar al-Islami, all these names of Islamic magazine. I start to read. I want to defend Islam. And then I went to grade 12, and in Egypt, grade 12 is a very critic year, because it's what will decide your future, which college you will go, and all the stuff. But I kept following those magazines. And at this time came the 1987 election, and there is this Islamic coalition between, was the beginning of left wing becoming allied to Islamists. This Labour Party and Al-Ahrar, which means the Free Party, they made a coalition with the Muslim Brotherhood and go to election, parliament election. I was at this time, I didn't have the right to vote, but I was completely with this ally. Their slogan, Al-Islam huwa al-hal. Islam is the solution. After I finished grade 12, during summer, I start by, of course, I want to be a good Muslim, because what is the best way to fight all these enemies is to be a good Muslim. So I want to be a good Muslim. I start to go to mosque, to pray in mosque all the time. the 5 times, even dawn.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to fight. I want to save Islam. uh, during my reading, of course, music is forbidden. It's haram. So I stopped listening to music. Despite that, I used to listen to it all the time, even when I study. I like to have music beside me when I study. I stopped that. No music. Going to mosque 5 times a day to pray. At this point, I met a guy. He was older than me, like a year or two maximum. And of course, he saw this guy who came to mosque all the time, all the time. He's all the time here. He started to approach me. By talking to him, I knew that he is a Muslim Brotherhood. So I went to him. I want to join the Muslim Brotherhood. Of course, this not the case all the time. This is unusual in the
Yeah.
Muslim Brotherhood. Because normally what happened is
They find you.
they find you.
Mhm.
Come play with us. Come, we have a football match. We are going to a trip to Cairo, to Rashid, to wherever in Egypt, blah, blah, blah. And step by step, come, we have today, we'll sit together to read Quran. We're gonna, what's your opinion if we study Quran together? And after that, they start to explain Quran. We have this meeting, hop, bop, step by step by step, you find yourself inside. For me, I jumped this recruitment period, and they start, okay, we have this pray at night, we have this, today we will fast, and we will take breakfast all together, the breakfast of the sunset, not breakfast of the morning. So I start to be with them. And I remember the first one I met of the leader was a guy named Talat Mustafa. He is now the spokesperson of Muslim Brotherhood in Turkey. This is the first one I met. And he gave me this day, this chain for key chain.
Mhm.
It was written on it, Labbaika Afghanistan. At this time, the Afghan war was still going on. I saw all this, I want to fight. In university, I start to work with them. I joined the first jobs. I found, okay, he liked to read, he know lots of stuff, so put him in the cultural committee of the faculty. I was member. This is my first position, just a member in the cultural committee. In Faculty of Commerce, because at this time the Department of Political Science and Economics were part of the Commerce faculty. In 2011, after January 2011, they separated and became a separate faculty. The role, to understand what is the role of this committee, it was the Muslim Brotherhood or Islamist propaganda in university. That was our role. We are the one who spread hijab in university. أختاه الحجاب. And you know why Muslims are defeated? Why Muslims are retarded? You know why Muslims are backwarded?
Because women are covering their hair. Yeah.
Yes, because the lack of hijab. You are responsible of all the disaster of the ummah, you women.
Of course. Our hair is very powerful.
Sure. So, as a propaganda, I remember because I started my first year. It was in September 1987. December, the Intifada happened in Gaza, first Intifada. And a few months after that, we had to, we know that we are involved. We, the Muslim Brotherhood, which is Hamas. we start to do our own propaganda to let everyone know about Hamas. Everyone will know about PLO, Yasser Arafat, stuff like that. But this was something new, brand new. I remember at this time we made this tape of Islamic songs, of course, full of jihad and fight and martyrdom. يعني, let's go fight and die for Al-Aqsa. And I remember I even printed, I got the picture of Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, the founder of Hamas, and we printed and we put it in this tape and we distribute it so everyone know who is Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, the founder of Hamas. And all by the name other, we start to focus on it. I remember at this time, Mahmoud al-Zahar, Ismail Yahaniya, Ismail Abu Shanab, and Abdelaziz al-Rantisi, all those in Gaza, in West Bank, it was Hassan Youssef, oh, blah, 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 Hamas, Hamas, Hamas. There was nothing about PLO, nothing about the people of Gaza, nothing. It's just Hamas. Hamas is leading the Intifada. Hamas made the Intifada. All this stuff. And then I became the responsible of this cultural committee inside the faculty. I saw that I have some idea, I create some stuff. And of course, as being head of the committee in my faculty, I became automatically a member of the university back committee. That makes the whole strategy of the propaganda in the university. I became a member. By the time I became what they call it أخ عامل, يعني
Maid brother. Yeah.
working brother, active brother, whatever is the translation. And I found that all this year or 2 years or a year and a half, I don't remember, I wasn't a real member. There is a period that they call it elementary or primary. It's when you are under investigation, under, how we call it, they testing you if to see if you are good or you are capable to be a Muslim Brotherhood or not. So I eventually went to a mosque here, someplace, and we make bay'ah. I don't know about how to translate bay'ah. Is when you tell someone to say that you are totally committed to the organization. And we nubaya, or to make this oath, maybe oath can...
Initiation, maybe.
Yes,
Something like that.
Yes, but part of it, or the main part of it, is we make this oath, this swear to listen and obey. Listen and obey. Listen to the leaders and obey. And there is this 10 pillar of bay'ah that Hassan al-Banna put, the founder of Muslim Brotherhood. One of them is الثقة, the trust in your leadership. You should trust your leadership, whatever happens. Always think and believe that the leadership is right. Even if you see that something you don't understand, you don't like, blah, blah, blah. No. The leader knows. The leader knows the situation. He understands. He believe. You should believe totally in him.
Blind faith.
Yes, blind faith. At this point, as the guy who was the head of the cultural committee for Alexandria University, he finished his faculty of engineering, and he was graduated, and it was needed that someone replaced him. So I replaced him and became the head of the whole propaganda in Alexandria University.
Wow.
Against women, against Israel, against the Christian, against atheists, against communists, against everything you can believe, against Mubarak, against NDP, against everyone, against Salafi. I remember when we were in university that there was this big fight between us, Muslim Brotherhood, and the Salafis. It was a real fight, beating, not fight. No. Physically, we beat each other because we were fighting who should lead the prayer in the mosque inside the university. Who should be the imam of the prayer? For us, we are the Muslim Brotherhood, the oldest organization, Islamic organization, the biggest organization. So we should lead. The Salafis came out with some fiqh that no, we shave our beard, so we shouldn't be imam. They have a beard, they have the good beliefs because they are Salafis. And we end up beating each other for about a week. It was a real fight. And the mosque were closed, by the way, for this week. It was so, that's why I always say, when I was a Muslim Brotherhood donkey, I used to do so and so. So I became this responsible of this committee, because in Muslim Brotherhood we don't say head or president, or we say responsible. He is responsible, مسؤول. At this point I became also a Muslim Brotherhood, أخ عام, a real بقى Muslim Brotherhood. This is the first step. This step before is like pre-Muslim Brotherhood. Now I am Muslim Brotherhood, and as I used to say, now the curtain of the theater open.
Yeah.
I start to see all the hidden stuff that I didn't. So I start. One of the things that I always believed in it was democracy and freedom and all this stuff. And of course, that Islam is the religion of freedom. We don't need to prove.
Of course.
And all the time, Muslim Brotherhood are crying and shouting for democracy in Egypt, democracy in the Middle East. Of course, I don't say Middle East, because Middle East, this is something imperialist. Democracy in the Arab world, democracy in the Muslim world, all this stuff. And then I was shocked that there is no democracy, or shura, as they call it, inside the organization itself. We used to sit down, discuss issues for 2, 3, 4 hours. Our meeting has no limit, no that time. We can sit for 5 hours discussing stuff. And we take decision, like democracy, by voting. When we go next day to do what we have decided yesterday, I'm shocked, but by other things being done. Oh, guys, what? So once, twice, 3, 4 times, I start to stop discussing anything. Why you are not talking, brother Moomen? Why should
What's
I
the
talk?
point?
What's the point? And why you are sitting here for these hours? We are wasting our time. We can do this decision that got on us by parachuted decision, do whatever you. And here start by the ring, start to ring. There was this meeting, and one of the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood in Alexandria came, and I found him talking about those brothers who say or talk about the decision jumping on them by parachute.
Oh.
using the same exact word I was using.
Wow.
Okay, wow, I am reported.
Yeah, the spies told on you. Yeah.
There is among us. And this is the first time. And another time, there is some event, like 3, 4 events. This is one of them. The second, it was more severe. At this time, I went, me and some friends from the Muslim Brotherhood, my member, and some of them are from my family, not my family, my Muslim. In Muslim Brotherhood, the cell, all these secret organizations, I call it cell.
Mhm.
In Muslim Brotherhood, they call it family. So family inside Muslim Brotherhood equals cell in communist organization.
Mhm. Like the mafia. You have mafia family. Mhm.
Exactly. We went to Cairo at this day we succeeded, one of our friend or our brother succeeded to arrange a meeting with Sheikh Yusuf Qaradawi in Cairo. He was on vacation. Yeah.
Mhm.
He had a villa in Madinat Nasr. I don't know if you went to Madinat Nasr.
I did. I lived in Madinat Nasr.
Yeah. I remember شارع عباس العقاد, but I don't remember which street بقى after that. We want to meet Yusuf Qaradawi and we sit with him. And at this time, as I told you, and this group had some problem with the leader and how work is going on inside the movement. We sit with him like about 2 hours discussing stuff, blah, 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 blah. And he was at this time very proud and very happy and chanting for the coup in Sudan made by Bashir and Turabi. And the state kneeled to Allah, so we should kneel with it to Allah and stuff like that. But what happened was at the end, the last 15 minutes, maybe, a group of Muslim Brotherhood, was 2 or 3 other, came and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forget that I have another appointment at this time." And he should have told us earlier, like 15 minutes to leave. But this group came, and for our good luck, they were from Alexandria, from, inside the organization, there is those who work in the neighborhoods and those who work like those who become more political, like us, work in university, in syndicates, in union, all this stuff. Those were from one of the neighborhood called Azarita. I don't know if you remember it, where there is the mosque of Qa'id Ibrahim, this big mosque in downtown. From this area, they came, and of course they knew us, and they heard the last 15 minutes where we are criticizing the movement, criticizing the leaders, all this stuff. We finished and we left. They sit with him. They were coming to consult him about something economic, Islamic economy. So every business should be in term of Islamic law. And we left. We spent some time in Cairo and we went back to Alexandria. We were in 2 cars, mine and another friend. We said, okay, we are hungry. Let's go to the doctor club. It was for physician. This club, this the doctor union or physician union, they have this club by the sea. And of course, it was ruled by the Muslim Brotherhood because they are the managing of the syndicate. And all the people working there were Muslim Brotherhood. Any place the Muslim Brotherhood put their hand on it, they change all the stuff. They
To be their
fire.
own.
Yes. And of course, as Muslim Brotherhood, we can go to all this, despite we are not a doctor, we are not even student in medical school. We have nothing to do with this area. We are studying as a group, we're studying political science, economy. One of us was business administration, and another was statistics and stuff. We have nothing to do, but we can go there anytime. السلام عليكم عليكم السلام أخ مؤمن عليكم السلام أخ محمد we go. When we went back and we went to this club, we were getting inside, and then this doctor, we know him, he died a few years ago in prison in Egypt. Once he saw us coming, he started like this. يخرب بيوتكم عملتوا ايه؟ يعني ايه؟ What have you done? What happened? I said, what happened? What happened? Did we kill someone? What you were doing at Qaradawi house? Imagine, the news came to Alexandria before us even.
Wow.
And he's the more dangerous and more surprising, he knew what we were saying. This means that those three people came back to Alexandria before us. They wrote a report. They sent it to their leader or responsibles, and their responsible gave it to our responsibles, and then it arrived to this guy. And then يعني he was not expecting us. He was thought he will see us next day or something. What did you do? And he started telling us what we were saying to Al-Qaradawi. At this point, I looked at him. Okay. So excuse me, Amr. Can you tell me why you were criticizing Gamal Abdel Nasser?
Oh boy.
Yes, of course. Because all the time they attack Abdel Nasser. Because at this era, you know, this like all communist regimes, they said, the brother report his brother, and the father report his son, and the son report his father, blah, blah, blah. So I told him, so why you are criticizing Abdel Nasser? You are doing the same. What is this? And by the way, we were visiting Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi. We were visiting Mahmoud Amin Al-Alam or Farag Fouda and this of secular communist intellectual in, of course.
He's
Farag
part
Fouda
of the cult. Yeah, he's part of the, yeah.
He's part of the gang. So what if we visit someone, he's not Islamist even, or he's against Islamist? What we have done, you would have hang us or what's going on? And of course, we went into investigation and blah, blah, blah. It was a big fiasco at this time before because of this visit. Also, there is another thing related to the, it was, I call it the question of the Communist Party. Because another time, I'm talking here about a group that is talking all the time about democracy. I asked another time, Qaradawi was in Alexandria. He has an apartment here by the sea, and we went to visit him in Alexandria here. At this time, we didn't discuss the organization and what's going on in it because it was for us something finishing. We were discussing general Islamic thoughts. I asked him, what if we seize power? We will allow a communist party in Egypt, because there is not just one, maybe 3, 4, 5, communists always splitting. We will allow the communist party in Egypt. He said it firmly, no. This time I didn't, because I had this You know, from reading a lot, I start to have my own idea about Islam, even that why not? Didn't the Prophet let the munafiqeen, the hypocrite, as they call it, and when they ask him, why don't you kill them? He said, so they don't say that Muhammad killed his uh, friends or companion. So I thought it like that. The Communist Party is like the hypocrite in the day of Muhammad. So why not let them? Qaradawi say no. I tried to discuss it with him. No, no Communist Party in a Islamic regime.
And he was the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood at this point.
No, he never been officially leader. He was like the intellectual of the sheikh of the he created for himself this position that put him even above the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Intellectual authority on
Okay.
the no. Another time, but not with him. At this time, at this point, I start to make a big problem and talking and criticizing. They start to take me to every leader possible in Alexandria to meet with him and discuss with him. يعني, so once they took me to عصام الحداد, Aziz Isam al-Haddad, who became later the consultant of Muhammad Morsi for foreign affairs. As this guy, he's the genius. He is the one who will tell me and يعني dismiss all these يعني crazy thoughts I have in my mind. I went to him, we started the discussion. Of course, I don't remember anything from it, only one phrase. And then I cut, okay, let him finish talking because I want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him the same question. Would we allow a communist party if we seize power, if we become in power? We will allow a communist party in Egypt? And I got the more يعني more weird answer than Qaradawi. Qaradawi was clear. No. He started to tell me, look, brother Mu'min, we don't want to be RIT. What is RIT? RIT, this was a school in Islamic study in fiqh that they do, normally in fiqh, when you go to a clerk, you ask him a question and he give you the fatwa, the response. Haram, halal, do, don't do, stuff like that. There was this school, RIT, that they did their own school by asking themselves, what if? It's not someone going to ask. No, he start to imagine situation and put rules for it. Yes. So it was, they always start by this ara'ayt. What if? So they call them ara'ayt.
Mm-hmm.
And normally, these cases, it wasn't something very imaginary, but يعني, it's very hard to happen. يعني, imagine someone like 1,000 years ago can ask, what if we go to moon? How we will pray?
Yeah.
So, of course, 1,000 years ago, when you go to the moon, are you crazy? He started talking to me like this, that me يعني
Wow.
to imagine or to expect that the Muslim Brotherhood be in power
So he
and
never
decide,
believed it would ever happen. Mm-hmm.
yes, and he thought that I'm crazy. What we sees, we will be in power. That will never happen. So why asking this question even? Yeah. So okay. So why we are going into elections? This is
What
by
are we
inside
doing?
me. What we are
Mm-hmm.
doing? Why we go to election? Why we make coalition with parties, political parties? why we are playing we play politics because we want to be in power at some point. No, no, for him this is something very imaginary, and no need to ask this question. And then third or fourth event, it was during the invasion of Saddam Hussein to Kuwait. It was, of course, a big fiasco inside the Muslim Brotherhood. The international organization has divided between those who believe that Saddam Hussein will become Salahuddin al-Ayyubi and liberate Jerusalem or Shalim, Quds, Beit al-Maqdis. There was always this saying, they use it, Muslims and Arab nationalists. They always say the way to Jerusalem pass by Amman, for example, the capital of Jordan, pass by Cairo. That if we want to liberate Jerusalem, we had first to change the regime in this country. So the way to Jerusalem at this point was passed by Kuwait. That's
Okay.
we will become like Salahuddin. He will unify all the Arab and Muslim country like Salahuddin did, and he will lead us all to free Palestine from the river. And we'll liberate Al-Aqsa Mosque. Oh, Allahu Akbar wa lillahi alhamd. Some like the Muslim Brotherhood of Jordan, of Palestine, Hamas, and even Yasser Arafat and PLO, they took the side of, that was very stupid, the side of Saddam Hussein and Sudan, and almost all the Muslim Brotherhood, all the organization of the Muslim Brotherhood in Middle East and North Africa, except for the Muslim Brotherhood of the Gulf, because this is their country. Muslim Brotherhood of Kuwait, of Saudi Arabia.
It's a conflict of interest for them.
Yes. Egyptian organization got into trouble. Where should they stand? With the main bloc, Muslim Brotherhood, or with the Muslim Brotherhood of the Gulf, who are the main sponsors? Money come from the Gulf, where at this time we start to chant very weird slogan. صدام باغي وبوش محتل والإسلام هو الحل. It means nothing. That Saddam is aggressive or aggression. I don't know how to say it. Aggressor, okay. Saddam is aggressor. George Bush is occupier. And Islam is the solution. What does it mean? I don't know till now. What does it mean? I don't know. But they work in this bad situation between those who back Saddam and those who back Kuwait and Libya and the Gulf. What to do? And of course, the conspiracy theory come out again that when the American went there, the British and even the Egyptian army, all those army who went to Saudi Arabia to liberate Kuwait. The conspiracy theory came out that this is a plan made by the Zionists.
It's always the Jews.
Of course. By the way, before I go into this story, Jews are in, I don't know if you know about Abdullah ibn Saba. Abdullah ibn Saba, in Islamic history, they always insult him or mention him by two names. Ibn as-Sawda, the son of the black woman, and the son of the Jewish woman, ابن السوداء وابن اليهود. In Islamic history, Abdullah ibn Saba, he was the cause of all these civil wars that happened between Muslim companion Ali and Muawiyah and Aisha and Abdullah ibn Zubair, the war of the camel, Harb al-Gamal, all Siffin, all these wars that the first Muslims kill each other for the power, for the chair of Khilafah, was made by who? Abdullah ibn
Son of a
Saba,
Jew. Yeah.
of a Jew, son of the Jewish woman, the son of the black woman.
Mhm.
By the way, there is no accurate proof that this personality exists.
Oh, but those are two insulting things for them, to be black or to be Jewish. Yeah.
This person, no proof that he exists. Even our professor and our great intellectual Taha Hussein, he wrote that this is bullshit. This person didn't exist. And other intellectual, by the way. Anyway, for the Jews are always behind all these plans against Muslim. So they start talking that this is a plan, and all this army came because it's time to create the greatest Israel from the Nile to the Euphrates, من دجلة للفرات. من النيل للفرات، من النيل للفرات, from the Nile to the Euphrates. And once the war starts, the Israeli army will invade Jordan and under the sign of liberating Kuwait. So they will invade Jordan and then Iraq till the Euphrates. And then later back, they will come to us in Egypt till the Nile.
Mm.
At this time, we went in Cairo also, and we went to the office of the Maktab al-Irshad, the guiding bureau or the guiding office. And we met, we didn't find anyone except for Ma'mun al-Hudaybi, who became the general guide after that. And he is the son of the previous guide, Hassan al-Hudaybi. We found Ma'mun al-Hudaybi, we sit with him. Of course, we should talk about what's going on in the Gulf, Kuwait, Saddam, Iraq, Israel, all this stuff. And I start asking, what if Israel really invade Jordan? What the Muslim Brotherhood will do? He kept talking like about 10 minutes. And then at the end, nothing. Blah, 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 blah. So what we will do? No answer. No answer. Are you people aware of what you are saying? Do you believe really in what you are saying? But because if you believe that Israel will invade Jordan and then Iraq to create the greatest Israel from Nile to Euphrates, we as Muslim Brotherhood, we should be ready. We should get ready because we will fight to resist. We must fight back. But nothing. Nothing. I felt that I'm dealing with some bunch of idiots. They know nothing. So by the time I knew that there is no democracy, no shura, or for example, they start to convince you that shura in Islam is democracy, which is a big lie. And okay, what is shura inside? Their thought about shura, it's the same as their thought about democracy. It's just a matter of voting. Because I remember meeting with guy, his name is Abbas al-Sisi. He was one, they call it the Ar-Ra'il al-Awwal, the first generation. It's, Muhammad and the companion, and his companion. There is Hassan al-Banna and the first generation.
Mm-hmm.
So Abbas al-Sisi, he is one of this first generation, and he was at this time in the not the Egyptian organization but in the international organization of the Muslim Brotherhood. He was responsible of the international relation at this point. He was in Alexandria. He has an office here in a place called Ibrahimiyya. I was there doing some work, and he arrived. I went to salute him, and I sit with him and I start asking him about Shura inside Muslim Brotherhood. He start talking to me about Shura. It's like a matter of voting. We are, for example, we are in the bureau of guiding, our guiding bureau. We are 14. If there is any decision, we vote. If it's 7 against 7, the 7 who has general guide at this point, general guide vote, it's counting by 2. If there is equality in that's his concept of shura. I thought this is a big lie. This organization is big lie. It's bullshit. I should leave. I left, but I didn't leave Islamism. I went to another wing inside the Islamist movement, the biggest movement, the political.
So you weren't disillusioned with political Islam in general. You were disillusioned with the Muslim Brotherhood because you felt that they were not being serious enough. They didn't even believe their own propaganda.
Exactly. So I went to another wing inside the Islamism, which I consider it the most dangerous, more dangerous even than Muslim Brotherhood. What they call it moderate Islamism, not moderate Muslim, moderate Islamism. Those guy of Yusuf al-Qaradawi, Muhammad al-Ghazali, Fahmi Huwaidi, Salim al-Awwa, Tariq al-Bishri, and in USA, one of the stronghold of this wing is IIIT, International Institute of Islamic Thought. You can search it. IIIT, International Institute of Islamic Thought, in Virginia, USA. And they had branch here in Cairo, in Zamalek. Those people, those guys work on what they call the Islamization of knowledge, Islamization of science. How to make Islamic political science, Islamic economic, Islamic sociology, Islamic geography, Islamic philosophy, Islamic name it. All the knowledge, all the science, their work is to Islamize. And I just was reading a book, maybe a couple of months, of a guy named Esposito, I think.
John Esposito, yeah.
You know who's his professor? And who's the one who was supervising his PhD? Ismail Ragi Al-Faruqi. Search this name.
This is in Georgetown University in USA, right? Yeah.
Al University. Ismail Ragi Al-Faruqi. Search it. He was the founder of IIIT. And all these guys who defend Islam and the democracy of Islam, the freedom of Islam, blah, 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 you will find this link all the time. Either to an Islamist professor or to Qatari or Saudi fund.
Yeah.
Walid ibn Talal, those of Qatar, you will find either way, or this professor or both together. That's why you see all this PhD, master degree, all this research, all these studies about how great is Islam. And with them come what they call it. I love this term from the French, the Islamo-gauchist.
Yeah.
I love this term. يعني.
Yeah.
You can say it in English. I don't know how.
It's like
but
Islamo-leftist.
Islamo-leftists. Okay.
Mm.
Those Islamo-leftists like Wael Halla, like Khalid Fahmi, like Heba Rauf Izzat, and there is this woman also, I don't remember her name. All these people who start to create these studies and PhD. There is even, I just read the book. It was a PhD of a guy named Tamim al-Barghouti. His PhD in USA. It's not printed. I was يعني glad it wasn't printed in English, but they translated into Arabic and published here in Egypt. He called it the soft nationalism. He says that all these Egyptian leader was about Egypt. Saad Zaghloul, Ahmad Lutfi Sayed, Taha Hussein, all this biggest leader, our the godfather, our godfather of independence, of constitution, of liberalism, of Egyptian nationalism, of secularism. For him, all imagine this PhD was in an American university. That all these guys were just a bunch of servant and agent of the British imperialism. That's the kind of PhD that, and the problem is, like what happened to me. For me, why I believe Raga Garoudi, he changed his name when he converted to Islam from Rouget to Raga. Why I believed for him? Because he's French. But at this point, I was 17 years old. I didn't know that there is lots of idiots in the West.
Yeah.
Doesn't that no, it doesn't that he is Western and intellectual Western also, that he is oh yes, brilliant. He must يعني no. Lots of idiot. At this point, I start to go to this school of contemporary Muslim. That's the name of magazine. Contemporary Muslim, and this triple IT, this idea of Islamization of knowledge and science. I study political science. Okay, this is the secular political science. So I start to read in the old books of politics, what they call it, siyasa shar'iyya. I don't know what is this translation of this term. It's siyasa shar'iyya
like
is this
Islamic politics.
It's Islamic politics, but I want to differentiate from the recent one. This old of Ibn Taqiyya, of Al-Mawardi, of Ibn Qayyim, Abu Ya'la al-Farra, Al-Guwaini, Ibn Khaldun, all these people of the called siyasa shar'iyya. It is a branch in the Islamic studies that study this part of Khilafah, Shura, or you can call it the Islamic regime. I do that because there is no such thing, Islamic regime. We'll discuss it later. And at the same time, I start to get those books of triple IT about the Islamic political science theory, international relation in Islam, all the shura and democracy, and about non-Muslim in the Islamic state, blah, 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 blah. So I had the three يعني group with me. The old Islamic science, the political and the modern and the يعني modern or secular. I start to find for the old, what is this? Because for me, at this point, Islamic mean what? Quran, Sunnah, and what the companion did. That was at this time. I don't care what Muawiyah did, what Marwan ibn al-Hakam did, or what Abu Ja'far al-Mansur did, or Harun al-Rashid decided to do, or blah, blah. For me, this is, and that's what I study in Islam itself. They are not a source of legitimacy or a source of Islam, but I found that those people, all people, talking about this name of Khalifa. What's this? Start to see things. That's why I reread Islamic history. I start to see that the way regime or the ruler was changed, it differed. Yani even with the big ones, you find Abu Bakr came to power in a way, Omar came in another way, Uthman came in another way or third way, Ali came in a fourth way. So for me, there is no special Islamic way to change so we can do anything. Why you want to put me in this corner? And of course, the modern, what this book has to do with political theory. And you call it Islamic political theory. And it was a PhD from Cairo here. But of course, this triple IT printed and sell it. I don't know if they translated into English or not. Maybe they did. So by the time I start to understand there is no such thing as Islamic regime or Islamic democracy or Islamic economy or all this stuff that start to read. It's bullshit. What is this? At this point, I start to leave Islamism itself. Later, few years, and I start at this point, I spent like 8, 9 years doing nothing in my life, just reading. I stopped all my activities, all what I'm doing. And at this point, yeah, I got married and I got divorced, stuff like that. But I kept reading, and I remember this light who came. I was enlightened, the moment of enlightenment for me. As I was rereading Islamic history, I came to the Islamic Civil War. Ali, Muawiyah, Aisha, all this stuff. For those, I don't know if people know who is Aisha, is the mother of the believer wife.
She's the 6-year-old.
أيوة.
They all know her.
9.
Well, she was 6 when he married her.
Okay, but the wedding was when she was 9.
Yeah, of course. So she's grown up by then, full adult, not a problem. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Mm.
And I don't know why I was reading those people killing each other, cutting the hand and the leg and slaughter each other. This hadith came to my mind at this moment. I don't know, but maybe there is such thing as enlightening or enlightenment that come to you. Came to me this hadith that you can go to hell because of a word you said. I was reading radiallahu anhu, killing radiallahu anhu. You know, radiallahu anhu, you can explain it.
protect him or Allah's happy with him or something. Mm.
يعني that and those people Ali Abdurrahman Ali and الزبير ibn al-Awwam and the third guy no, Abdurrahman ibn Auf I'm not sure of the surname and Aisha. Those four people are going to paradise. This is set. This is final. So I was okay. I can say or even drink a glass of wine or have sex out of marriage. I'll go to hell. But those killing each other, slaughtering each other, will go to paradise. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Ciao, ciao. I don't want to know.
Yeah,
That's my
that's
brief.
what did it. Brief.
Yes, an hour and
I only asked you one question. Okay,
I'm
that's
sorry.
actually no, you know what, Moomen? I was enthralled, as was everybody else here. This was so enlightening for all of us. I have so many questions for you though, and I don't know how we're going to get through them all, but the first question I have for you is groups like Al-Ikhwan, the Muslim Brotherhood, Hizb ut-Tahrir, other Islamist groups like that, they're always saying here in the West, because they have their Khalifa conferences here in the West, they are considered terrorist organizations in most Arab countries. But in the West, they are very comfortable, happy, powerful. One of the things that they do to fool Western people is they say, well, you have freedom of speech. We're just using our freedom of speech. We do not believe in any kind of violence. We do not support violence or anything like that. So when you're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood, then you started to talk about how they were the start of Hamas. And of course, Hamas are very violent, right? And you talked about how in your university you were spreading the Muslim Brotherhood propaganda and the Hamas propaganda because it's one and the same. And it was all about fighting. It was all about violence, all about aggression. So this idea of them being nonviolent, is it only when they are less powerful? So they will remain nonviolent in the beginning. They will have allies, they will pretend to work together and everything. And then as soon as they reach a point where they have power, all bets are off. That's when they show their true colors and they're very happy to be violent. Is this true?
Completely true. I tell you this. In public, Muslim Brotherhood condemn the assassination of President Sadat. We are against it. Violence, 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 violence. Inside the organization, in our meeting, in our discussions, we say the martyr Khalid al-Islambuli. Khalid al-Islambuli is the leader of the group that killed Sadat. He was the first guy who jumped from, I don't know if you saw the assassination of President Sadat. For us, the assassiner or the killer of President Sadat, they are martyrs. Because I've
Heroes.
sent, they are heroes, they are martyrs. You know, in Islam, martyr is something very, they are martyrs. When we were in control of the university, just university, we were violent. I just talked about our fight with the Salafis and how we beat each other, and we were violent against the student of the NDP, for example, or in the university. Violent or even against the security of the university. We were violent, yes, because we felt strong. I'm not talking about country, just university.
Yeah.
We We felt strong, so we did whatever we want. Anyone stop in front of us, we were able to beat him. Well, yes, we didn't kill, but we beat them.
Mhm. Mhm.
And even if the group of the Muslim Brotherhood in some faculties are a small group, for example, they just can tell the other Muslim Brotherhood from other faculties to come. So in just half an hour, you can have like 200 Muslim Brotherhood inside, ready to get into fight and to beat. And we use stone, we use our belt, we use if we the stick, whatever. And remember, anyone says that ones who say that Muslim Brotherhood are not violent, remember that have the five main slogans that Hassan al-Banna put. Allah hayatuna, God is our aim. الرسول قدوتنا. الرسول Prophet is our model or القرآن دستورنا. القرآن our constitution. الجهاد سبيلنا.
Right.
Jihad, our way, it's our path.
Our purpose. Mhm.
في سبيل الله أسمى أمانينا.
Wow.
Dying for God is, or martyrs is our أسمى أمانينا يعني
Ultimate goal.
exactly.
Mm. Mhm.
And you tell me they're not violent?
Mm. Mhm. They're telling us, they're being very transparent, but people here don't want to hear it. Yeah. And another really interesting thing that you talked about, because I'm thinking of all the similarities between the story that you told us of how they grew in Egypt, and I'm seeing the similarities between how they are growing here in the West. And another thing that they do, that they did in Egypt, that they did in Iran, that they're doing here in the West right now, is this allying with the left, allying with the progressives, with the communists, with the socialists, right? Pretending that they're allies, then they're working together. And in Iran, it ended up becoming very clear when they, as soon as the Islamic regime came into power, they murdered or imprisoned or tortured all of the leadership from the progressives, whether it was communists or socialists or whatever, anyone from the left. And in Egypt, we saw that you were telling us that even though they pretended to be allies with communists and they have their coalition governments and this and that and the other thing, at the end of the day, when you asked Yusuf Qaradawi, would we allow the communists to have their own government? It was a clear no. When we have power, these people who we pretended to be allies with, they will get nothing. Now, here in the West, we haven't learned that lesson yet. And people are unwilling to learn from the history of what has happened all over the Middle East and North Africa. And they think that what is happening to them right now is something unique, something different, something special. And they're not recognizing how they are lambs to the slaughter right now. You have so many people on the left, all of the progressives, and not just progressives, like even liberals, right? Classical liberals even, believing that they can be allied with these Islamists, thinking that they are together, they're going to, reach their goals together, which is, of course, they're both anti-West. That's what they have in common, is they both have it. What can I say to these people? What can you say to these people? How can we get through to them for them to see how they are being used as useful idiots right now?
I think the best way is to translate some books because Islamists say in Arabic
Yeah,
what they don't say in English or French or German or whatever. Okay?
good point.
if they translate it, if some, but this will need an institution or organization. No one can do it alone. You know, there is, for example, a fatwa for Qaradawi. And here we are not talking about ISIS, we are not talking about Qaeda, we are not, no, no, no. We are talking about moderate Islamists, moderate, cute, very, يعني, we call it in Egypt, or they call themselves wasati. Okay.
Moderate.
So for example, there is a fatwa for Qaradawi that a Muslim girl can't, she's not allowed, it's haram, it's forbidden to marry a communist guy. Haram. Why? He is not Muslim. Even if he's Muhammad or Ahmad or Abdul Rahman or whatever, in his ID, it's written Muslim, but he is communist. You are not allowed to marry him because he is an atheist. Communist equal atheist, you can't marry him. There is books, a book for Muhammad al-Ghazali, its name is قذائف الحق. I don't know, the shell of يعني, truth or whatever. Even the name, you can see the war in it. قذائف, you know, قذيفة, it's what you use in a canon. قذائف الحق. If you read this
canon of truth or something, I don't know. Yeah, not really. Bullet, I don't know. Anyway, go ahead, keep going.
The shell of cannon that you put it and bomb. This book, I hope it will be translated to all language. Why? You will see for Sheikh Ghazali, moderate Muslim, and he was a big name for this triple IT and all this wing of Islamic movement. This قذائف الحق book, it's full of conspiracy theory against Jews, of course. Christian, Copts, Egyptian Christians, the Copt, against the Pope at this time, Shenouda, against communists, against this. That's why the authority at this time in Egypt, they confiscate this book and they prevent distributing it because it was full of hatred against everyone. Everyone. There is books and essays and column in newspaper need to be translated into English so people can understand the mentality of those people. Those people, they don't have allies. They don't. What they were allied to USA in Afghanistan. What they did to USA. They were allied to communists in Iran. What they did to those communists. Even here in Egypt in 2011, they were allied to liberal and communist and socialist and all these forces in Egypt. What they did once they get into power. They have no ally, even between themselves, by the way.
Yeah.
By the way, even between in Afghanistan, after they got rid of the Soviet Union, what they did, they killed each other.
Yeah.
Even in Gaza, there is this event of the Mosque of Ibn Taymiyyah in Gaza. That was a branch of Al-Qaeda that appeared in Gaza, and they went to this mosque and they delivered this speech. And what Hamas did to those people, they bombed the mosque. Bombed it. Of course, we don't care. Yani, they can kill each other. For me, I don't care. They can.
I hope you both win.
Yeah. Good luck for both of
Yeah.
us. يعني, they have no.
Yeah. This is a very, very good point. And thank you for saying it so clearly. there is a group called Memri, MEMRI, that translate a lot of videos that khutbah, so sermons that are happening in mosques and things like that, that are happening in Arabic, happening in Farsi, happening in Urdu, and they translate it into English to give people who are really interested in hearing the truth, to give them an idea of what's really being said, because it's a forked tongue, as Motman was saying. What they say to you to your face is different from what they say behind closed doors, right? In my book, I called it the inside voice and the outside voice. So what they in the West, when they have a microphone in front of them, when they're on a on a TV screen, they're going to say one thing, which is completely different from what they're going to say behind closed doors. So if you want to know what's being said behind closed doors, then pay attention to groups like Memory that will give you the translations of what's really being said in the native languages. Very good point. Thank you for that, Mo'min. I had so many more questions for you. I really wanted to talk to you about Gaza and Syria. I feel like, just like with Ines, I have to have a part two with you, because there's too much. Like, these are big, big topics, and what's happening in Gaza right now, of course, with the whole hostage situation, everything's still ongoing. I don't know if you have any thoughts to share on that, or if you have any perspectives, or if you see any kind of, you know, how you see things going from here. Did you want to talk about that, or not really?
لا يعني أنا for Gaza, what I am hoping that the next day, I always think of the next day of the war,
Yeah,
which didn't come yet. Uh,
yeah.
the most important thing to do is the cultural change inside the Gaza Strip.
Okay, can I just interrupt you here for 1 second? Because I feel like I know the train of thought that you're going on, and I'll tell you why I have way less hope today than I did a couple of days ago. If for every hostage that they kidnapped and stole from their home, and if they are going to have 35 or 40 or whatever the number is, terrorists, killers, criminals are going to be released from prison, what is this future that you're talking about right now that we all thought might be a potential future? Don't you think that this is going to be rewinding back into the dark ages now, if we're going to allow all of these terrorists out of prison? That's how we got where we are. Yahya Sinwar was in Israeli prison, right? And then they they cured him of his brain cancer, and they took care of him and whatever, and then they let him go free, and they thought, oh, okay, he's going to have some sort of humanity in him. But no, he was the architect of October 7th. That's just one. That's just one. When they let him out of prison, he became a hero. They paint murals of these people on their walls of their refugee camps, right? The people that are the murderers are their heroes. So when we're letting out that hundreds at this point, we're talking about, of killers, terrorists, murderers, criminals, how can you see a future in Gaza?
Because from what I see, there will be no ceasefire, there will be no end of the war. It's not didn't come yet.
Mhm,
I, if you think that Hamas will keep its ceasefire, it won't happen. It
mhm.
won't happen. They can't live without war.
It's true.
Uh, they can't live without struggle. I don't believe that this ceasefire will stand. They said the first period is 42 days. I doubt it will continue for 12 days.
Mhm,
It will collapse. And I believe that Hamas is finished. Hamas will go to hell. Hamas to go, as we say in Arabic, to the garbage of history, and it will disappear. But that's why I don't want what happened in Afghanistan before,
mhm,
in what happened in Iraq, that it will happen in Gaza, because in Afghanistan, USA just left, not this time, way ago, no schools, no media, no what I call cultural change. This mentality must, if you don't change mentality, if you kill every single one of Hamas and Islamic Jihad, but still the education
Yeah.
contain those stories and this culture of fighting, of jihad, of conspiracy theory, of
Of
the
anti-Semitism. Mm.
anti-Semitism, all these crazy things, it will come back again. Muslim Brotherhood are like cancer. If you don't eliminate every single cell, if you leave one cell, one Muslim Brotherhood, he is able to restart again. And how you will eliminate them? By the cultural change, which I don't know why the West don't believe in cultural change. They always believe in
Mhm.
political, economical change,
Mhm.
but culture,
Military.
no, that's. But I read like couple of months ago something. It was Israeli, of course. I believe Israelis understand our area far more better than American or European because they
Yep,
are
for
living
sure.
and they know. They were talking about change in education system in Gaza. I hope so. This will happen. I hope so
Mhm.
because this will be the real change in my
Mhm.
point of
Yeah, I agree. I mean that's why I was so happy to see in Saudi Arabia they removed all the hadith from their curriculum in their schools that were all talking about jihad or talking about like anti-Semitism and all of a lot of really vicious hadith got removed, which is a pretty big deal for a Sharia country to say, we're going to remove these hadith from the curriculum, but that's the first step because they don't want to have a population full of terrorists because of course that's going to be some sort of threat to their power as the monarchy, right? But it just seems like what's happening in Syria right now and what's happening in Gaza right now, it does we are filled with a sense of fear that it is going to be another Afghanistan or it is going to be another Iraq, that this vacuum will get filled with more terrorists as it has always in the past. This is the way it happens in the Middle East, right? That's the way it happened in Libya. It's lather, rinse, repeat. This is the way it is. Um, and if if Gaza is left to its own devices, if the Gazan people are left to their own devices, because what you're talking about now is Israel having control over their education system or America being involved in their education system, right? Um, or maybe other allied Arab countries. I don't know. Maybe UAE, for goodness sake. They have their head on their shoulders properly with the Abraham Accords and everything. So maybe they can be the ones. If you don't want it to be some Western or some Zionist entity, then let it be the Emiratis. Um, but something has to be done. Like we can't just walk away and be like, ma'al salama, that's it. Good luck to you. Starting up your homeland from scratch again. Like, no, it's gonna be the same. It's like a hydra. There's a Greek mythology about this snake that every time you cut off its head, it grows more and more heads, right? And it's just starting to get really everybody is sick and tired of this. And I'm feeling with this whole hostage situation now and the ceasefire plan and everything, I feel like it's just a lose-lose situation. I want the hostages to come home, of course, but whatever happened to do not negotiate with terrorists? What happened to that? Suddenly we're negotiating with terrorists and we're at a very, we're losing in this deal. But anyway, things are changing and still in flux, and we don't know how things are going to end. And I 100% agree with you that they will not be able to control themselves very long. They never have been, and they never will be able to. They want to die for sabilillah. That's their goal. And so they're going to continue, whether if they kill Jews on their way to heaven, then that's great. If not, it doesn't even matter. They just want to die trying. So they'll never stop.
I agree. I totally agree. Especially when I saw this celebration of victory.
Yeah,
Wow. You are,
yeah,
you are
yeah.
celebrating. Okay, good luck. That's why I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'll be wrong. I don't know. You know, politics, you can't be sure 100%. But I don't think so that this ceasefire will continue. I think all the hostages alive, those 33, maybe, or maybe less. I can see that the maximum number they're hoping for them to be alive is 33. Once they are back, and then we will go into problem about the bodies of the dead hostage. I don't think things will continue. And of course, Hamas would like to be victorious again.
Mhm.
يعني all these victories I got, they need more of victory. And I don't believe it will stand. It will end and we will go back to war till the end of Hamas. And I agree with you for UAE. And there was news about negotiation between Israel and UAE about the next day. They're
Mhm.
negotiating you, not Abbas, the corrupted
Mhm. Mhm.
leader, or the Hamas, the terrorist leaders, is are negotiating with UAE. So I hope when this war end, I don't know when, it's not done yet. When it ends, that Israeli don't behave like USA. Make sure that there will be cultural change. Of course, economic change is needed, of course. Uh, and politics will come at the end. Who knows what will happen?
Mhm. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to open it up to questions and comments from people who are here to join you, Moomen. The first person is Shana.
Hi, thank you so much to both of you, Moomen and Yasmine. This has been amazing. I actually agree that this ceasefire is very unlikely to last, but on the off chance it lasts long enough to deal with the Philadelphia corridor, my question is that Egypt has a peace treaty with Israel, of course, but they are hardly friends. Given your unique perspective and understanding of the Muslim Brotherhood, um, in light of this ceasefire, what are the chances that Egypt will actually start enforcing the border at the Philadelphia corridor to prevent Hamas from rearming, should it get that far? Thank you so much.
I'll answer one by one.
Yes, all the questions are for you. You're our professor today. We are your students.
Professor Boffin. We used to factor in. Uh, well, I think this matter of border has ended now. Israel has closed it all, and there is no benefits from it for any side. The Hamas, I think they're just pretending to be still in power, still in. They have their force. I think maybe they are completely destroyed. Even those who talk about re-recruit others, they won't be able to continue because there is no money. How they rebuild this organization without money? And I don't think that Israeli, because here it's good you mentioned that because Israeli are also responsible for what happened. I had this episode, I made like 2 episodes about the history of Hamas from the 40s to 1967 And from 1967 to 1987, I realized here when I was searching that in 1980 or 1979, there was this military attaché of the Israeli embassy in Tehran. And of course, Khomeini came and closed everything, and they went back. This military attaché became the governor or the military governor of Gaza. And he made a report to the government that I am seeing in Gaza what I saw in Iran before the revolution. Take care. This phenomenon of Islamism in Gaza. But at this point, of course, I think the Israeli government at this point they were totally stupid and idiot. All that what they thought about that this Hamas will be another force against the PLO and they can start a fight together and leave us in peace. Blah blah blah. No 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 no. But I believe that the Israeli got the lesson, and there will be no more Hamas, and of course there will be no more tunnel, because this tunnel was mainly a business for Hamas. They got a hell of money. I know people, not just the tunnel, by the way, even the cross. There was you know, if you want to come to Egypt, you have to submit your name and wait your turn to cross to Egypt. Maybe your turn is after 3 months, 4 months, but you don't want to wait all this. You can pay between $10,000, $15,000, depend on your situation. You are going. They made even the bribe. It has criteria. If you are going to study, a price. If you are going to tourism, a price. If you are going to for medical care, a price. So this way, your name, instead of being number 540, you will be number 10. So with the first open of the crossing, you will pass. So it was a big business for Hamas. The tunnel and the crossing and everything. I hope in the next day, when Hamas is finished, all this stuff will end and will be like normal crossing, which was before the Hamas coup in Gaza. You remember all Hamas didn't come into power by election, first election, but the other second step was a coup against Fatah, and they killed Fatah people. We saw the video. They were throwing them from the building. They were dragging them in the streets. They touch their leg in cars or motorcycle, and they drag them in the street. It was horrible. So I hope Hamas will end, and then all this story of tunnels and the crossing and this dictatorship and aggression against Gazan people. I saw videos from Gaza, and I know people from Gaza. No, it was very bad. And actually, I'm afraid of this ceasefire, even if it stands for a week, because there is opposition of Hamas in Gaza who spoke out. Those, maybe there will be in danger during this week, even if this
For sure.
fire they will be in danger. That's it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Moomen. Mohand, you're next.
Thank you, Yasmine. Thank you, Sarah, for organizing this. And wow, what an incredible story, Moomen. Also, you're such a very good storyteller. You should come back and share with us more in the future. I have so many questions, but I'm limited to two. One, I'm certainly concerned about your safety. I understand you're in Cairo. And with all that you have told us, and obviously you're so outspoken about the Brotherhood, aren't you concerned about your safety, and how do you manage to protect yourself? And the second question I have for you is, how does the Brotherhood view the other competitor, i.e. the Salafists, and how do you deal with them? Do they have a big presence in Egypt? Shukran jazilan. Thank you.
العفو. Thank you. For my safety, things now are not as dangerous as the 90s, where when they killed Farag Fouda, when they tried to kill Naguib Mahfouz, we can say that the state, the government has knocked them out hardly, and even in 2013 and after, there was this real war against terrorism. So now they're very weak. And, as Yasmine said, when they are weak, they don't like to use violence. They were always to appear, look, we are cute, we are weak, we are, why they are doing this to us? We are very nice. We are peaceful. Islam is the religion of salam, of peace.
Peace.
Islam come from peace, and peace come from Islam. Islam salam, salam Islam. At this time, I don't feel in danger right now. As for Muslim Brotherhood and the other Islamic component, as we say, they are all together, they are all okay with each other as long as there is a common enemy. And I even said that in 2011 to my Christian friends. They were afraid, of course, with the rise of the Muslim Brotherhood. I told them, calm down. As long as I am in Egypt and safe, you are safe. Because they will come to me first before you. They will go to atheist and secular Muslim before going to Christian or Jews. Those Ahlu Dhimma, they can pay and sit quietly, don't open their mouths, and okay. But for us, no, they will start with us. So once you see me in jail or see me fleeing the country, you have to after me directly. So when there is no such common enemy, they start to fight. As I said, Salafis see themselves that they have the real good religion. This theology, Islamic theology, there is a division between them, even inside the Sunni. I'm not talking about Shi'at, I'm not talking about Ibadi, Durs, Alawi, all this stuff. Inside Sunni, you have Ash'ara. This is a school in theology, Islamic theology. There is Salafis and there is Matridi. And those Salafis who are theologic Salafis, they are against the Ash'ari, who are mainly those Sheikh of Al-Azhar. And they see some Muslim Brotherhood as Ash'ari also. So there is this problem with them. And the Muslim Brotherhood look to Salafis as a bunch of idiots who don't know how to play, how to manipulate, blah, 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 and they want to say everything straight. That's why many times I say I love Salafis. Salafis, they don't manipulate, they don't go around, they go directly. What you will do with non-Muslim, they will pay jizya. I don't know how to jizya.
It's basically a tax on non-Muslim people so that they they're basically second-class citizens within an Islamic regime.
Exactly. The Muslim Brotherhood or the moderate Islamists, I will tell you, well, blah, blah, and you trying to avoid to answer. But the Salafis will go directly. Muslim Brotherhood consider this straightforward behavior of the Salafi as stupidity. And also, they always deal with Salafis as the agent of the state. They are agent of police. They are working for the security, and they will inform about any Islamist who do anything or say something. That's the situation between them. That's why I said once we secular or non-Muslim disappear, they kill each other at once. At once. Because why? Because everyone want to be the leader. Every group wants to be on the head. That's why how come, this is a question, how come you want to unify Muslim, as I say, from Tanga to Jakarta, Tanja in Morocco to Jakarta in Indonesia. They said like that, from Tanga to Jakarta, from Ghana in the South Ghana in Africa to Ferghana. I think Ferghana is in Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan, something like that. It's like from east to west and from north to south. How come you want to unify all those countries and you can't unify yourself, Muslim Brotherhood and Salafis and Hizb ut-Tahrir and jihadist and التوقف والتبين and يعني all I can maybe I can't count them. You can count like 100 of Islamic organization. That's it.
That's the good news. Is that they have this idea of the Muslim Ummah and all of us together, we're so powerful. About what are you talking about? All you ever do is just fight each other and kill each other, and there's none. It's all a figment of their imagination. Yeah.
For the next question, I have to say, they said, okay, what is the problem to have a Malaysian man, or not a woman, of course. By the way, the sister division inside Muslim Brotherhood is headed by a man, not by a woman.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. And he communicate with the sisters through his wife. Why don't you wife the head of the division? No, must be a man.
Of course.
So those same people who say that, okay, a Malaysian or Indonesian can become the president of Egypt, the same people don't accept that the general guide of the Muslim Brotherhood be another nationality but Egyptian.
Yeah. Who are they who are they kidding? They will absolutely never. And that's the thing, is all of them are this nationalistic. All of them are this bigoted towards each other. Whether it's in, the Arabs in the Gulf states, the Qataris hate the Saudis, whether it's the Lebanese and the Palestinians and the Egyptians all hating each other, this is my family to this day, because my father is from Gaza, my sister's children, their children, we're talking like third generation now. If one of those kids do something wrong, my family will say, Dem Filistini. It's the Palestinian blood. Okay? So that's how they think of other ethnicities that are like right next door and probably share like the exact same DNA. That's how they treat each other. So there's no way that they would accept a Malaysian or a Pakistani or an Indonesian. None of these people are considered even, legitimate Muslims as far as they're concerned.
I tell you this يعني when Hassan al-Hudaybi, the second general guide of the Muslim Brotherhood uh, after Hassan al-Banna, was captured and he was put in jail, and there is no way, as long as Nasser alive, he won't. The Muslim Brotherhood, the international organization, said, okay, let's elect a general guide, not Egyptian, and they were يعني talking about someone Syrian. I don't remember Mustafa Sibai or Isam al-Attar, because the general guide is in jail and we don't expect that will come out. So let's find someone not Egyptian, away from Nasser, away from the Islamic Egyptian security. They refused.
Mhm.
They Egyptian. And even now that Muhammad Badi, as a general guide, is in prison, let's get another one. And they even they suggest that the headquarters of the Muslim Brotherhood be moved from Cairo to Lebanon at this time, late 60s.
Mm.
They refused. It's Egypt, and the general guide is Egyptian. So why you are talking about to us about another nationality become our president? Do it to yourself.
Exactly. Mhm. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. You're pulling back all the curtains today. This is fantastic. Mars, you're next.
Thank you, Yasmin, as always. The question I have is actually for both of you. I've been spending some time looking over Salman Rushdie's account of the recent attempt on, the recent attempt on his life. And you both talked about how the Muslim Brotherhood is flying under the radar now, especially when regards with its work with the current left. I wanted to ask you both about two concepts I don't think I fully understand, and those concepts are those of taqiyya and abrogation. Um, I'm concerned that I'm still concerned about the idea that we're like in this conversation about Islam, we're veering off into the far right or the far left narratives, and it's really important to be able to thread the needle on this specific subject. But these two concepts are used to justify one approach or the other. Taqiyya is often used in my experience, to justify bigotry, and abrogation seems to be used by some very, very naive progressive people to overlook the misogyny, homophobia. You know what's on that list that happens on the progressive left. So, but these are concepts I don't think people truly understand. Can you guys give us some more details as to how these work and how they're misinterpreted? Like how are objective people supposed to look at this?
Mohammed, do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
You can start till I come back.
Okay. All right. So first of all, Mars, there's a difference between what is like theoretical, what is, on the books, and then what happens in reality, right? So that first concept you talked about, Taqiyya, that has to do with Shias. It was mostly a Shia concept. And the idea there is that when they're in a Sunni majority, that they can pretend to be Sunni as well, because otherwise the Sunnis will kill them, right? So that sometimes is extrapolated to be things like if you are in an unsafe situation where a non-Muslim is going to kill you, for example, you can pretend that you're not Muslim to save your life. So that's what that concept is you can be deceptive if it is to save your life or for some other good reason. So people will again extrapolate even further from that and say, okay, so I can lie about Islam to protect Islam's reputation. So I cannot, like Mu'min was talking about, the difference between a Salafi and an Islamist, is a Salafi will straight up tell you, yeah, if you're born a Muslim and then you choose not to follow Islam anymore, we'll kill you. But an Islamist will play these games, like all of these, all this rhetoric, and and kind of be very political about it and won't be direct, even though they both have the same beliefs. So one is the Salafis are basically not practicing Taqiyya. They're just like being honest. Whereas the Islamists are like, no, it's okay to not be direct, to not tell the truth, and to play these duplicitous games because we're trying to, for the greater good is that we want to spread Islam. And so for that reason, they kind of justify lying. So that's the first concept. But how commonly is it used, or how commonly are people talking about it, or how commonly is it specific? It's not. But we do have this it's just like any other cult, just like any other in-group. You want to protect your cult, you want to protect your ideology, you want to protect your community from any kind of criticism or aggression or whatever. So people will lie, Muslims will lie about Islam to outsiders in order to protect the reputation of Islam. If you ask them, are you practicing Taqiyya right now? No, they're not going to say, yes, I am, because therefore, it is an accepted concept in Islam, or blah, blah, blah. Not necessarily, but it's just what they do. It's just what happens. And your second question, which is about the abrogation of the Quran, and that is like because there are lots of ayahs that contradict each other. And so the thought process here is that if an ayah comes first that says X, and then another ayah comes down from Gabriel that says Y, now X is obsolete and we follow Y. Theoretically. But they don't do that. They don't do that. Whoever wants to follow X follows X. Whoever wants to follow Y follows Y, and then they fight, right? So in Islam, we have in the Quran, it will say to kill people like me and Sarah and Moomen and everybody else who's chosen to leave Islam. But there's also an ayah that says there is no compulsion in religion, right? But they'll argue about it. They'll say, oh, no, 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 that was just in this particular circumstance at this particular time. Same thing about killing the Jews, right? Some of them will say, oh, okay, so we have to kill the Jews. And others will say, no, 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 that was in this particular battle during this particular time. You know what I mean? So because there's so many contradictions, they're continuing to constantly disagree with each other. There has not been a full agreement that all of the ayahs that contradict, that all of the, the earlier ayahs that contradict later ayahs, that we're only going to follow the later ones. No, there's no 100% agreement that everybody is going to do that. And the other thing here too that I have to tell you, which is related to our whole conversation with Mu'min, is when the Quran was first being released, when it was first being when it was first coming down from Gabriel, it was friendly and positive and nice and, almost hippie-ish because Muhammad didn't have power yet, right? And so he was trying to get, oh, Arabs, we should all unite. Oh, let's all be friends. Let's all da da da. And then as soon as he had power, what did he do? He broke all of the idols that belonged to all of the other Arabs. And he's like, it's Islam, it's Allah, and the rest of you are going to be killed. And so that's why you don't necessarily want abrogation to happen, because the later ones are way worse than the earlier ones, if that makes sense. Like as far as violence and raping and pillaging and all that stuff, as Islam got more and more powerful, it got way worse for everybody. And you can see that with his wives too. The difference between Khadija and Aisha, for example, right? It's so clear that it just gets it's just devolving and getting worse and worse and worse over time.
That's the event that Salman Rushdie based the Satanic Verses on, if I'm not mistaken. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Mu'min, did you want to add to that?
Yes, there is also in Sunnah beside Taqiyya and Mudara. يعني Taqiyya is more Shiite name. There is in Sunni name Mudara. It's same actually. And there is Ta'rid. What is Ta'rid? Ta'rid that if you, I'll tell you something, it's not a lie, but it's not true also. I give an example. When I was in the Muslim Brotherhood, my mom was objecting that and fighting with me all the time because I go out, I meet, blah, blah, blah. So what they told me, when your mom asks you, where are you going? Don't say, because I am Muslim, good Muslim, I shouldn't lie. I tell him, I'm going to this mosque to meet with the Muslim Brotherhood, blah, blah, blah. No, tell your mother that you are going to a movie with your friend. For me, this is a lie. But what to do not to make it a lie? When you go to the mosque, pass by a movie theater. Don't get in, of course, it's haram. But you pass by the movie theater. That's this way. You didn't lie because you went to this. In Egypt, we call the movie theater cinema, like the French name. I say, where are you going, Moomen? I'm going to the cinema. Okay, I go, pass by the cinema, and then go. This is ta'rid. It's like when I come to you, if you are asking me, I'm Muslim, and you want to study Islam, and I want to tell you how Islam is great. You ask, what is the Islamic vision to Jew? Jew are our brother. You know,
أهل الكتاب.
Ahlul Kitab, you know that there used to be a Jews in Medina, a Jewish man that threw his garbage on the door of the Prophet. And one day the Prophet came out and didn't find this garbage. He asked, where is the garbage? They told him that the Jewish man is sick. That's why he didn't throw his garbage in front of your door. So the Prophet, and you should cry, of course, went to visit this Jewish guy to make sure he's fine. The Jewish man saw him, he cried, and he converted to Islam. Yeah, you know, see, I will tell you this story, but I won't tell you that Muhammad kicked the three tribes, Jewish tribe. The one was kicked with their money and weapon, Bani Qaynuqa, and then Bani Nadir were kicked out of Medina without their money nor their weapon. The third, Bani Qurayza, were slaughtered. All male above 15 were slaughtered, and women and children became slaves. And there is the town of Khaybar, the same. I will tell you the story of the garbage, but I won't tell you the story of the three tribes and the Khaybar. This is Ta'rid. Tell you something. I'm not lying, because for them the story of garbage happened. But I won't tell you, I don't tell you the whole story. I don't give you the whole picture. I give you only the part. You know, you were mentioning Salman Rushdie and the satanic verses. By the way, this story inside the book of interpretation of Quran, Ibn Kathir and Tabari, all that, they say, talk about this satanic verse. The story, I don't know if you know it or not, that's the Satan, because there is a verse in Quran say وما يلقي عليك الشيطان من آية ننسخها أو يعني that this Satan, the devil, come and put verses on your tongue to put it in Quran, but God طبعا of course protect Quran, so he tell him to eliminate it. This story is in Islamic books, but when Salman Rushdie bring it out and turn it into a novel, he became kafir, and Khomeini decide to kill him and blah, 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 blah. Where is the... He is telling you what is in your book. No. Last thing about the contradiction between verses in Quran, I have to mention here the verse of sword, ayat sayf. That's the name. I'm not inventing this name. This is the name in the books, Islamic books, the verse of sword. What is the verse of sword? It's the verse number 5 in Surah At-Tawbah, but I don't remember it. It's number 5 in Surah At-Tawbah. This verse for them has cancelled or eliminated about 120 verse of peace and good relation with non-Muslim and blah, blah, blah. This verse says that to fight all the non-Muslim, all the non-Muslim. You can even search it. The verse in English, the verse of sword, ayat sayf. This cancelled all the some people say 100 verse, some say 80, some say 150. I always take the number in the middle with 120 verses of peace and good relation with non-Muslim, blah, 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 that this verse of sword has cancelled, eliminated all these verses. And of course, like Yasmine said, some people don't believe in that, like Qaradawi. That's why he's moderate. What he say? No, we will implement the verse on depend on the situation. I want Mars to join Islam. I will give you all the verses of peace and good relation. Once you join Islam, it's time for jihad now, Mars. Now it's time to fight. So when there is, and this is, by the way, one of the things that brought out international relation in Islam. There is the verses of peace and there is the verses of war. And we implement every verse in its place and its condition and its situation. That's it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Depending on what's best for them at that point. Yeah. All right. Sarah has a couple of questions for you, Moomen, from people who have written questions in the chat, but they're unable to come on camera themselves. So Sarah is going to be their voice and their beautiful face for you.
Thank you so much for that, Yasmin. Hi again, woman. I love your stories from me, not from the audience. I know they love it too, but you are such an amazing storyteller. Like I should be triggered for so many of these things, and I'm not, and I love that. So thank you so much. So the first question is, somebody asked, you described really well your experience as a teenager. Thank you. What is the solution to protect young people from falling victim to the cult or any cults? For that matter, I wonder about programs in schools, educating children on how cults work, how it can happen to anyone, and how they can protect themselves. What are your thoughts?
I always believe in critical or critic think. يعني people or teach the young people how to think, how to criticize what they're reading. And by the way, now we have internet. People of my age, we suffered to find the information. Now by typing few words, you can know everything about the subject you are searching. For us, it was big problem, and that's why even I have this episode how technology destroyed Islamists. Because before, when I come and tell you, by the way, Muhammad married Aisha when she was 9. Liar, because Muslim they have this, idea, this like something very pure and very nice. They don't believe. No, no, no. Muhammad didn't marry a child 9 years old. to get it for him, it was big deal, and to go through books, you know, the Islamic books, it's like 20 volume, every volume is 1,000 page, big problem. Now on internet, you can get him, he can search for anything. So, but how to analyze, how to critique this, how to think about it, how to get different point of view, not just one. We are now in a situation, I tell you, I have this gold ring, okay? Before it was something normal till the 70s. But after that, everyone came, haram, 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 gold for man, haram, gold for man, haram. Now, once a guy thought, this ring, yes, it's gold. It's haram. No, it's not haram. You can go to this book, Fiqh al-Sunnah, for Sheikh Sayyid Sabiq. And by the way, Sheikh Sayyid Sabiq, he was a Muslim Brotherhood. And you will see, I determined for him where to go, and you will see that it's not haram. He got mad. Who is this Sabiq? Oh, they don't even know about religion. I always tell you, you are defending something you don't know about it. You don't, even you don't know who said this or who said this, or what is the difference between all the schools, all the idea, all the opinions. They don't know nothing. That's why it's always here. How to think, how to read, how to criticize what they're reading, how to check different point of view, not just one. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, the second question is, how do you feel about Israel and Zionism now? And are your feelings widely shared or exceptional in Egypt?
And for me, I have this article, I wrote it a long time ago, how I moved from the war of the camp of war to the camp of peace. And how I developed it. This, that I am totally with peace, totally with normalization, totally to have normal relation with Israel. Everything is based on the benefits of Egypt and about the national security of Egypt. For me, Israel is like any other country in the world. If there is mutual interest, okay, there is some issues regarding national security, we can sit and talk and solve it peacefully, like what happened between Europe and USA, between Germany and Italy. For me, Israel, it's another country. That's all. I am against war, against enemy. For the public opinion, in Egypt, I can tell you this. The majority, the vast majority is against war. Egyptians are not ready to go into war again, especially to liberate Palestine or Al-Aqsa or Quds or this stuff. No. No Egyptian will sacrifice his son, his daughter for the war for Palestine. This is finished. Finished. What you can see in social media is the loud voice of Islamists and leftists. Just about war. Okay. I for myself, I wish that one day our government say, okay, people who want to go to war and liberate Palestine, we are sending buses. Okay, there is buses in Tahrir Square. Be waiting Friday morning at 10 o'clock. All those who want to go and liberate Palestine and fight, come. Maximum you will have 2 buses of 100 people, maximum. All by those thousands you see on internet, on X, on social media, war. They will disappear. They will vanish. It's just this. يعني, sometimes we say about ourselves يعني, that we are big mouth. يعني, talk,
The
but we don't.
same thing here. Same thing here, Mu'min. All of them are running around in the streets screaming, free, free Palestine. They would never do anything for Palestine. They could give less of a shit about Palestine. It's just posturing.
يعني, you know, when there was those tunnels, we lots of people, okay, people, why you are giving us a headache? You have the tunnel. Go. How?
Exactly.
It's like 2 or 3 people who went, actually. 2 or 3 people who went there through the tunnel. And once they come back, they get arrested. No one go. No one is ready to fight. It's just a big mouth. Just they are fighting or performing jihad. We call them mujahideen of the keyboard. The mujahideen
Yeah.
of keyboard. بس.
That's it. Yeah.
And by the way, يعني, Egyptians, they have this thing. يعني, he can, because of religion, he can attack Jewish, he can attack them, insult. But just one come كده in the middle. But you know, those Palestinians, what you were talking about, Yasmine, that all these people here, but you know, just those Palestinians, they are and that blah, 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 blah. Oh yes, yes, yes. You will find the whole situation as يعني, the table will be turned around against Palestinian. So it's a matter of يعني, illusion in their head because of propaganda, because of religion, because of all this stuff. But as I said in the beginning, what I am 100% sure of it, that Egyptian people refuse war. This is different.
They want to see Jews killed. They want to see Israel demolished, but they don't want to be the ones to do it. And we're talking about these jihadi warriors now, the keyboard jihadis. So they're happy to watch the Gazan people sacrifice their lives for a cause that they want, right? The Gazan people want to live, right? But they want to see Israel demolished and they want to see Jewish people killed. So they want to use the Gazan people. They're happy. They don't care about Gazans. They don't care about Palestinians. They're happy to use them to as fodder, basically, towards a goal that they want. Very similar to the Islamic regime of Iran, right? They're all playing the same game. They just want to use the lives of Gazan people towards what they want, not what's best for the Gazans, but what's best for what their ideological goals. All right. Were there more questions, Sarah?
No, that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Yasmine. Thank you, Moomen.
Thank you. Ari, you're next.
Hi, Moomen. I read your piece on Egypt and Israel, and you had written it in 2017. And I was wondering how things have changed since then, and particularly since October 7th in Egypt. You outlined that there were several problems um, to having real, genuine peace there. And I was wondering, have things changed since you wrote that? And my second question is, of the Egyptian populace, particularly of Muslims there, what percentage of them genuinely want real peace with Israel?
Okay, what I can see as change after October 7 is there is lots of voice that came out and speak out against October 7 and against Hamas. And before you can see them. during the war in Lebanon or the strike against Gaza, you will see or listen only to voices that are championing the war, championing the resistance, are pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, all this stuff. But at the other side, you won't hear anything. Mostly, someone like me, I won't make any comment because I don't like to get attacked by thousands of people or hundreds of people insulting me and you Arab Zionists. But now it's different. Now, because of this number of us who came out and spoke, and now when they call me Arab Zionists, I call them Arab mullahs.
Mhm.
You think I am working for Israel and they are working for Iran. So don't try to make the patriot one here. Yeah. I call them all the time Arab mullahs. Has changed. And also one of the main things I want to point to is there is, since 2013, there is an increase of Egyptian nationalism. What made Egyptian hate Israel, want to fight with Israel, blah, blah, all this idea of pan-Arabism, of Arab nationalism, of Islam. Because Palestine, this is part of the Arab land. This is part of Islam land. But once people start to go back to the Egyptian identity, Egyptian nationalism. Okay, me as Egyptian, Egypt as my country, as my homeland, where is the problem between Israel and Egypt? Not with the Arab, not with the Muslim, no. With Egypt, where is the problem? They found no problem. Where is the problem? No problem. So why we are fighting with, and not fighting war, but why you are in a problem with Israel? Why you are clashing with it? Why? For Arabs, who care about Arabs? For Muslim, who care about Muslim? That change in the matter of identity bring people to be more accepting to Israel. Because as Egyptian, I has no problem. Of course, there is some problems that happen, but I see it only on X. Some people like I follow like Eddie Cohen. I even canceled my follow him. Or Mair Masri is more logic than him. Eddie Cohen, I feel that he is coming to make problems and that's it. But you can see problems there. For example, Eddie Cohen talk about Moses as Egyptian king and Egyptian prince. Of course, this is historically, it's not right. And he doesn't recognize that Egyptian nationalists, even if some of them are still Muslim, but they have their own interpretation for these stories about Jews and Egypt and Moses and all this stuff. They come to him. Who's Moses? You can see fight like this. Who's Moses? There is no such thing as Moses. What are you talking about? Well, Egypt, what Egypt? There is no Moses. I told him when he was talking about the exotic of what is when Jews left Egypt, Jewish with Moses and all this stuff, how they saw. I told him, what are you talking about? Did Jewish enter Egypt to leave it? At this time, there was no Jewish in Egypt. They came late with the Persian. and they were living here in Alexandria, يعني from history book area called Chubby at this time, Greco-Roman era. So this problem that I found it stupid. Why bringing those stuff out now? Where is the idea of talking that the Jewish people has always lived, and then you mention pharaohs. Okay, يعني Egyptian will come to you and tell you there is no such thing as pharaohs. There is no such thing as you weren't in Egypt at this time. What are you talking about? So why bring these things that make problem now? That's what I see. From what I see between Israeli and Egyptian, this historical stuff from the Torah, from the stories of Torah and old story, because history, Egyptian history, there is no such things. For us, Israel appear for the stone of Merimbetah, the first mention of it, and then they came. I don't remember the dates with the first invasion of the Persian to Egypt, and they were here for sure during the Greco-Roman era, and after that, and then even when they Christian kicked them out of Alexandria due to some problem between Christian and Jews. This era when Hypatia was killed.
Mm.
So it's just stuff, يعني history, and it's not real history. So let go, people. Don't get involved on stuff that is finished, done. خلاص, c'est fini. For peace, as I said, I can't say what I am sure of. People, Egyptian people, are against war. And that's why they are with peace. Let's be more specific. The problem is about normalization. Here, that I can't answer, I don't know. Are they ready for normalization to go visit Israel and make trade with Israel? I don't know. There is companies in Egypt that trade with Israel, and there is people in those companies working it. And as they work on it, and they know they're importing or exporting to Israel, this means that they have no problem. So this question of normalization specifically, not peace, not war, this I am sure. But normalization, that's what I don't know exactly, really. Because we don't have even real survey to tell you the truth. We don't have this. I don't know.
شكرا مومن.
عفوا.
I love the way you explain that, Moomen. That's so good, because in the past, there were these Arab coalitions, Egypt and Syria and Jordan and everybody against Israel, right? And so when this was happening, this, genocide, supposed quote unquote genocide happening in Gaza, and they're screaming like, "Oh, help us, help us." Where are the Arabs? They didn't come. The Egyptians didn't come. The Lebanese didn't come. The Jordanians didn't come. The Syrians, nobody came, because they are tired of it. And this pan-Arabist idea is not nearly as popular now as it was back then. Now everybody's interested in what is best for them individually. Each individual nation is looking out for what is best for them. And I think what's really important to remember here too is when Israel was being attacked by Iran, the Saudis and the Jordanians were helping Israel, right? And they were shooting down those missiles as well. So sometimes we can get caught up in the hateful rhetoric that we see happening on social media, which is true. There is a lot of hateful rhetoric. There is a lot of anti-Semitism. It's all very true. But when the rubber hits the road at the end of the day, when we're talking about like what's actually happening, normalization, it is moving in that direction. So Egypt is in political peace with Israel, as is Jordan, as are so many other countries. in the Middle East. Obviously, the Abraham Accords have really helped so much in that direction. We're seeing with Saudi Arabia, I think will be soon becoming just like the UAE. And so things are moving in the right direction, slowly but surely. And at the end of the day, all of these screaming, hateful nut jobs are not the ones that are moving the needle, right? The tail is not wagging the dog here. So we can at least find some solace in that. All right, Moomen, I have taken up a lot of your time. All of us have been just hanging on your every word. So many people have talked about what a good storyteller you are. This was the best interview I've ever done because I just got to sit back and listen. So, so I really appreciate it. But before I let you go today, I just want to make sure that you've said everything that you wanted to say, that there are no words of advice for us. Maybe you can tell us where we can listen to your podcast. Do you ever podcast in English or is it always in Arabic?
It's always in Arabic because actually and frankly I care about Arab speakers more. This question I was asked long time, and some people since 2011 asked me
They
to,
need to hear your voice more. Yeah, there's
and
less.
actually I don't care. I'm sorry, but I
Mhm.
care about people here more. Things can change in the West if things change here. That's why I care about this. There is just one thing I want to mention before we go, because I heard this a lot. And even there was some question you said, you sent to me about Gaza and Syria. This I like that
Yeah.
you link it, because there is big mistake it happened. It's a big myth created by the Islamists, and it was spread, and even one of your guests said it, mentioning the regimes in the Middle East and North Africa as secular regime.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
there is no such thing as secular regime in our area. No, all of them are using religion. All the family laws in this region is coming from Sharia.
Yeah, but they pretend to be secular. They have the veneer of secularism. Just like even Saddam Hussein was, even though he put Allahu Akbar on their flag, but he said, I am secular. Yeah.
Even his war with Iran, what he called it? He called it Qadisiyyat Saddam.
Mhm.
Qadisiyya. This is the war where the Muslim defeated Persian and take over the Persian Empire at this time. So this Qadisiyya, this war, what he is using Islamic symbols for what he is doing. Qadisiyya Saddam. And even he produced a movie about Qadisiyya made by Izzat al-Alayli and Suad Hosni and for his Qadisiyya.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. It's all a veneer. It's not true secularism. It's the Muslim world hasn't seen that yet. The Middle East and North Africa is still one day. Let's start with Iran. This is what I'm always advocating here. Let's start. It all started with Iran, and now it's all going to have to end starting with Iran. And I think then after that, the rest will fall like dominoes. That's my prediction. All right. Thank you so much, Moomen. I really appreciate it. I will definitely have to have you back. In fact, maybe I'll have you and Ines back at the same time, and then I can just totally sit back and watch the two of you can tell us all of your stories. But it's been so amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I learned so much from you, as did everybody else here. There were so many comments talking about how they learned so much more from this podcast than they ever have from any of my podcasts in the past. So thank you. Thank you so much for being patient with us. and explaining everything to us, so clearly. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And thanks, Sarah, for the
Always. And thank you all for joining us. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye.
After hearing all that, you might be left wondering, what can I do? How can I help? Well, this is why I created a nonprofit called Free Hearts, Free Minds. We are the only organization dedicated exclusively to helping these free thinkers. We empower them with our programs and supportive community, lifting them up so they can heal, speak out, and begin to make positive changes, not just in their own lives, but within the broader community around them. If this is a cause that resonates with you and you want to make a difference, one way to do that is by donating to Free Hearts, Free Minds. Because not enough people care about this cause, we need people like you to help fuel this change. You can donate via our website, freeheartsfreeminds.com. Thank you. Every dollar you donate makes a difference.